Hey y'all, it's Miss A. Today our micro lesson is going to be covering adding integers. So this whole week we're going to be looking at integers. Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing we might get to. These TEKs are 6.3 C and D. We're going to be looking at using models to help us add, and then without models, like just knowing the rules. Okay, so this is a review. We've already learned this a long time ago. The first couple questions are going to do the models, so I'm not going to talk about the rules quite yet, but when we get down to number 3, we will definitely talk about the rules. Same sign or different signs. So let's go ahead and get started. It says what expression is represented on the number line. So whenever you have a number line and you're writing the expression means it wants the addition problem. Is it -2 plus 5? Is it -3 plus 5? They want to know what is the problem actually telling you to do. So when you're given a number line, you always start at 0. That's where you always look at the beginning. And then you see where that line is started and where it goes to. That is your first number. So it starts at 0 and goes to -7. So we put -7, and then we're moving to the right, so we are adding because the numbers are going towards the positive. Anytime you move to the right, it's adding. If you move backwards, it's negative. That's why this one was a negative number. All right, and then we move to the right, and if you look at how long that line is, it went from here to here, so that's 1, 2, so it added 2. -7 plus 2 is the expression, and then it's equal to where we ended up of -5. You didn't need it in this part, they just wanted the expression, but we could tell the answer by looking at where the number line actually stopped moving. So always start at 0. Figure out where that arrow goes first, -7, that was your first number, and then we added by moving to the right 1, 2 places, so +2, and then where we end is our answer of -5. All right, number 2, it's a little bit different. We have these counters. What expression does the model represent? One very important piece here is the key. We need to know which ones are which. So we can see here that the black pieces represent positive numbers and the white pieces represent negative numbers. So let's look at what we have. The first thing we have here is we have these 1, 2, 3, 4 white. White are negative, so -4. Okay, that's what we have down. 4 negative pieces. And then they put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 positives. They added 10 positive numbers. If these were white, then I would put adding -10. But this was just adding 10 positives. All right. Now to get our answer, what we do here is when you have a positive and negative together, it makes a 0 pair. So you can circle them anytime you have a positive and negative together, and they actually cancel each other out. So these cancel each other out, these, and these. Anytime you have a negative and a positive together, they cancel each other out. Just think about it. If you have $1 and then lose $1, you got nothing. So these are all 0. They're gone. And then you're left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because they were all black, black is positive, so it's +6. And that is how we model. So either on a number line or using counters. Remember, most important thing with counters is that anytime you have a negative and a positive together, they do cancel each other out, making them become 0 because it is a 0 pair. And then you just count what you have left, pay attention to your key to know if it's a positive or negative number. Because these were all black, I knew my answer was a +6. All right, and then number 3 and 4, we don't have a model, we just have a word problem. So we need to know the rules. So if you remember back when we were adding and subtracting, we are looking for 2 things. We are looking for signs that are the same and signs that are different. What I mean by same signs, I mean both numbers are negative or both numbers are positive. If both signs are the same, then you're going to add the 2 numbers. If the signs are different, you're going to subtract the 2 numbers. So different signs, I mean one number is a positive and one number is a negative. So if that's the case, you actually subtract, and then always keep the sign of the bigger number. They didn't give me much space to write here. Keep the sign of the bigger number. All right, so this one says Angelica was playing a card game and drew the following cards. Her score is the sum. Sum means to add all the numbers up, the sum of the cards. So you notice here she got a 0, she got a -18, a +13, a -3, and a +4. Basically, this 0 doesn't do me, like it's pointless, because if I add 0 or -0, it doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these other 4 numbers and I'm going to add them together. But we have to be careful because they're different signs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group it, to keep it simple, I'm going to group my negatives on one side. So -18, -3, -18, -3, and my positives on the other side, +13 and 4. And when the signs are the same, we just add them together. So these are both negative, so I'm going to add them. 18, 19, 20, 21, and then keep the sign of the bigger number. 18 was bigger, it was negative, so my answer is a negative. That makes sense because both numbers are negative. My answer is going to be negative. And then over here, these are just positive. Again, the signs are the same though. When the signs are the same, we add. So 13 plus 4 gets me 17, and they were both positive, so my answer is positive. So now I've got one negative number and one positive number because I combined my two and made it into one. So now these signs are different. This number is negative, this number is positive. So when they're different, I'm actually going to subtract. 21 minus 17, so I have to borrow. And then 11 minus 7 is 4. 1 minus 1 is 0, so we're done. So the answer is 4. But don't forget to keep the sign of the bigger number. So 21 is bigger than 17. So 21 was a negative, so my answer is a -4. Always remember to keep the sign of the bigger number at the end. If the signs are the same, we add. If the signs are different, we subtract. And then always keep the sign of the bigger number. All right, we have one more. The team of 4 friends played a number game. The names and scores of the friends of the team are shown in the table. So we've got Megan, Soria, Roderick, and Ashlyn, and there's their score. -12, -1, 8, and 15. We want to know what was the team's score. So in order to find that, we need to add up all the numbers. But again, we can't just add them all up because they were positives and negatives. If they were all the same, we'd be good. So I'm going to, again, group. I always think it's easiest to group my numbers together that are the same. So -12 and -1. And then I'm going to put the 15 on top and the 8 on bottom because I like the bigger number on top. All right, so my two negatives were -12 and -1. Remember, when the signs are the same, both of these numbers are negative. When the signs are the same, we add. 12 and 1 make 13. And then keep the sign of the bigger number. 12 is bigger, it's negative, so that number is negative. If the signs are the same, the answer is going to be the same sign. That's just what you need to do. But I just always say keep the sign of the bigger number to keep it the same for each one. All right, and then for my positives, I had +15 and +8. So if I add those together, 8 and 5 make 13, and then 1 and 1 make 2. So 23, and then they were both positive, so my answer is positive. But if you need to, just remember, keep the sign of the bigger number. 15 was bigger, it was positive, so my answer is positive. All right, so now here we have two new numbers. This one's negative, this one's positive. These signs are now different. When they're different, we subtract. So I'm going to take 23 because it's the bigger number, and I'm going to subtract 13, and I get 10. And then don't forget to keep the sign of the bigger number. 23, sorry, I put my answer there. 23 was bigger, it was positive, so my answer is a +10. All right, guys, that's it. Just remember, same sign add, different sign subtract, and then always keep the sign of the bigger number at the end. And then on number line, make sure you always start at 0 and go see where that arrow goes first. That's your first number, and then the second number is the second arrow, obviously. And then where you end is your answer. And then down here for the counters, remember that a negative and a positive together actually end up canceling each other out, making 0. And then count what you have left. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me on Zoom or email in Canvas. Y'all do have 2 practice sheets. If you can just pick one of them, complete them, and then send me a picture or show me on Zoom. And then you've got your micro assessment for today. Y'all have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye, guys.